Hello everyone, how you doing today? Thought I'd show you just a little bit of updates, a new ship that I've been working on for the live stream actually, and then work on this Cerberus a little bit more here. The new ship is this one here, um, kind of funky, and it is essentially a SV tank, or at least what I got in mind for it. Yeah, let me take this up a second here. It's a very maneuverable ship still. Um, but here, let me park this here a second and kind of see what's going on here. The concept of this one is I wanted to integrate in the maximum amount of turrets that you can put on an SV, and I wanted them all able to fire forward as you're attacking whatever you're attacking. I think that will help. It's just going to give it more firepower on the target at once. Behind these turrets, though, like back a little ways, you got a set of 4 homing rocket launchers, 6 miniguns. So you got 2 on each side and 2 in the center. And then way back over here, you have some plasma guns. Now, one thing I wanted to make sure of is whatever guns I want to put here are for taking down shields, and I wanted to make sure if it was plasma that is the correct weapon for that, or if it's the pulse lasers. I think they are. Let me just take a look at that real quick here. Let's see the other type of, oh wait, SV, duh. Yeah, these guys here. So I don't know which one is better for taking down shields, if it's the lasers or the plasma guns. And this ship will come with whatever those might be. If you happen to know the answer to that, yeah, let me know in the comments. That'd be really great. And also, this ship kind of sparked interest, and I'm trying to rush it. Well, I'm trying to get it done quickly. I'm not trying to rush it, but basically, I realized in the game itself with the playthrough that I really wanted to have a tough new SV that can take down POIs, and that's what I'm really trying to design this one around. And I want it agile and maneuverable. It's got a lot of strafing thrust. It's got an unusual lift thrust mechanism here, so I don't normally do this. I think I did something like this on one other creation, and that's the Transit CH3. But I took a big 3x3x7 SV thruster and crammed it right through the center of the ship over here. So it starts at the top and goes all the way to the bottom. Now that is a big amount of lift thrust. Now, I don't have the bottom of this thing finished, obviously. But I wanted that not to be the only source of lift thrust in case it gets destroyed. So it's also got some backup smaller lift thrusts. And this will, I think, help a lot in moving weight and cargo, things like that. And I'm sure with the amount of thrusters that are on this ship, I'll probably set up some kind of power mode so you don't have to have everything cranked at once. But this is basically how it's coming out right now. And I went with the cockpit way in the back. Now, cosmetically speaking, I normally don't like to do that. I think it would have looked probably cooler if I had a cockpit up front here somewhere. But for its function, yeah, I think this would be very helpful. In fact, I really believe this cockpit would be hard for a POI to hit. And I don't have any guns near the area either, so I'm really thinking it should be pretty safe. And that's why I'm also thinking I don't necessarily want to put in a dedicated secure cockpit inside of here. Now, it's not going to have, despite its size, it's not going to have a ton of interior space. It will have some, and it's just I just threw parts in here randomly right now, but basically beyond this wall here there will be no actual parts. This is all the front of the ship, and kind of like this is like kind of a firewall on the back side of that thruster, and I'll fill in a lot more of this with blocks and defensive things Maybe not just blocks, maybe some shutter windows or something, which have a lot of hit points. Um, and then when you're piloting this thing, and your back room essentially would be way the heck back here beyond that wall, I will have to find a nice home for the warp core and all the other parts in here, and then the range storage and all the normal stuff that you would typically have in a SV. Um, Armor locker and O2 and constructor. CPU wise, right now it's sitting pretty good at 75,000 CPU, and I think that's about right. It gives me CPU to add in all the other functions of the ship, storage and everything else, and not really have to worry about it. I already dumped in a shield and warp core in this one, so all the big CPU using parts are in there already. But yeah, I hope to have this ready by Sunday for the live stream, and that's kind of my goal there. So I'm going to keep on chugging away at it. Obviously, the next part is to get the interior done. As in the other Skaar ships over here, I think I'm going to probably release this prospect this Sunday because I got it, well, almost done and ready. I'm still, looks like I got a couple things here not textured yet. Thought I did that already. Or did I spawn in the wrong one? I'm not sure. And then I do have to get back to these other SVs here. This one here, I think what I'm going to do with it is, rather than having this as a combat ship, as it's already built with a steel hull, I think what I'm going to do is make this mostly a cargo ship. It's got a lot of room inside it, and I could really load this thing up with some heavy cargo, and then take a good look at the lift thrust, see if I got enough for it to move it. I'm not sure if I do yet or not, but it'll be kind of, I think, a Skaar version of like the Transit CH5 or 3 or something kind of mixed in between the two of those, I think. Because yeah, I don't necessarily need another like combat ship here, and this one is more of a lighter combat ship than the one I just showed you. And then alternatively, I still have this illegal plasma fighter ship, which I haven't done anything more with yet. That's coming though. I kind of want to get this one done and skinned and textured and all that fun stuff, which I haven't really started on it. But I have been working on the Cerberus a little bit as well. I kind of did up the landing pad area back here. What I'm tasked with next is another one of those things that I'm scared of, quite frankly, and that is the rear legs. And I figured I'd just try to do some of that on the video here. And I got some goals before I even start here. Basically, what do I want the rear legs to have versus what they have now? Not a whole lot different, except, okay, so I want to keep these two rear thrusters in place, probably moved. The big thing though is I want to add in another 2x2x4 or large CV lift thruster. And of course, a great spot to put that would be right here, but I can't because there's another thruster, or actually two thrusters above it, which would kind of prevent me from doing that. So I'm going to have to rebuild these feet a little bit. And also I wanted to explore the idea of changing this angle over here to a 22.5 and possibly having this kind of wrap around kind of over the front part of this hangar door to try to conceal the hangar door a little bit more without blocking its entry at all. So that's kind of my goal. And of course I want to put a turret back on the leg once I'm done. But these back legs I think are going to need some pretty heavy work. So I'm going to just kind of get messing in with that. So what I wanted to do first is establish new angling here and see what it looks like to start with. Some of these parts in here, like a bunch of O2 tanks too, probably doesn't need. Back when I was first building ships, I would put in a fairly excessive amount of O2 tanks. And now it's probably not actually needed to have that many O2 tanks. I know I got them in many other places in the ship besides the back legs too. So let's get to a particular angle set. We're gonna start in here, and what I wanted to try to do is match or come close to matching the angle that's over here. If I use this angle, that would keep this leg at the same. Well, no, it wouldn't be. This is kind of a 22.5 degree angle already. It's just going in the opposite direction as most of the other 22.5 angles, which it's weird because I don't mind that on this ship. Normally I like to keep them uniform, but I do kind of like the way it kind of just sticks out like that. But we're going to mess with it and see if this can change into something that might look better. I'm going to start here and add a bunch of new blocks. And then I'm going to have to make these back legs probably a little bigger to accommodate that second lift thrust that I would like to install in there as well. Alright, so we can do something like that there. Let's do the same on the bottom. Okay, so we start there. Something like that. Okay, so that'll take it to that point there. Now this inside area, does that need to be there? Alright, I'm just kind of gutting a lot of blocks that may no longer need to be there, or they might. I think that looks like it's an elevator. Alright, so, and then around the front here, something needs to give. I want to cover up this big flat nothingness on top of the hangar door mostly, or to hide it more, I guess you could say. So what I'm thinking about doing for that is to have this kind of alter its course a little bit and then kind of stretch like a row across here. Maybe use some of these really thin blocks here to give it that kind of metal look. But if I did just all of these across, it might be a little bit too much. Let's see. What if we took that and kind of built it out a bit here? Maybe something like that. And then I plan on actually, let's just get rid of this. I don't plan on keeping that particular light over there anymore. In fact, that's another thing I want to do is move the spotlight on the sides. Let's grab some of those. And I was thinking about dumping that in here and just kind of pointing down. I'm a little worried about the light getting blocked, especially with the blocks I just added here. That doesn't help. No, it doesn't. So let's change that. Maybe rather than going out with it, maybe go in with it. I just wanted something here that was a little bit different. Any of these work out here? Not really. Alright. Alright, so now these pieces here, they no longer fold correctly at the tips. So let's put in one of these stranger blocks here, which should match that angle to a point. So ramp connector D. Now I could round this off on the front here, but I don't know if I want to or not. I don't really want to run a strip all the way across here. Yeah, I'll leave it for now. Let's get rid of those. Alright, so it's got a couple things going on here. Might need one of those here then too. That's a funky setup though. I don't necessarily like that. Guess my thing now is, do I want to keep this existing angle there and have a dual angle? Would that look good at all from a profile stance? I guess it's all right. It's a little bit different. And can we mesh the two angles together? I think we can. This funky block here for sure. Obviously not those. I think this also needs a transition block. The opposite one, like that, I think fits. See, but I don't like what I got going on up here on these top angles. Even using those transition blocks, they fit, but it makes it kind of a jittery mess when I kind of want it to be smooth. So we can instead run these, which will merge with that and keep the edges nice and straight. Also kind of line up to the existing leg. Alright. What I really should do though is figure out exactly how I'm going to get the thrusters in this thing. So to start with, let's pop in another lift thruster, which is kind of a requirement on what I want the ship to do. Let's turn the thrusters back off again. Okay, so now it's going to need, okay, so I didn't actually have to touch the top one, but the bottom one obviously would have to stick out further to make this happen. I was thinking about raising the front one up too, another block row. So I could get the bottom one up another block row. And that would allow me to put in a block wall between the bottom thrusters and the thruster that goes up top here. So on these here, and it would be really cool if I could design this in such a way that I could use some shaped thrusters, because I do like to use those more if I can, if the body design allows for it at least. So I just gotta see how far it would have to go out if I wanted to keep it. So the bottom one was there. The top one I could either move in like I am or put at the same. Oh, wait a minute, I wanted to raise the bottom one up too. Like that. Okay, so let's try to run with that and try to enclose these in better. And we'll just put in some backing blocks here too. Now I know this thruster is touching the other thruster over here. I'm just kind of experimenting. I wonder if I can fix that by, kind of didn't want it to touch technically, although it costs more blocks to have them not touch. if I were to move forward them, then I could actually get a protective barrier here. Whoop. Like that. Alright, so the next part would be to align the blocks up to these the angle of these thrusters now, and trying to make it look cool in the process. So there's different ways I could try to do this, but I'm going to try to use at first some different blocks that I've been getting more and more into, especially with the Skaar creations, like these guys here, which are kind of make a neat bevel that is independently. You can color this row separate from this row. Almost when you look at it, it kind of looks like there's smaller blocks in the end. Like you wouldn't normally see that with most other blocks. So we could do that. And then there's this little corner piece that will fit the two. And then the other one of the angled sets fits the top of that, so you get a nice bevel there. Now there's a couple alternative blocks I could use. There's one that's not angled, so it would be just a flat area here instead of it beveling out like it is. But I kind of like the bevel out better, and I like the color options on painting that as well. So I'm going to try to go with that. Now what I want to do, since I did a slight, like a half block out on both of those, this, I don't think I'm going to have much options besides to just use a square block here. Let me get that rotated so I can make sure I get the most texture surface separate. But I'm going to keep it at the same bevel angle as what the top parts are. So like that. So now let's just extend all of these out, the half block row past that. Alright. So that meets qualifications of the amount of thrusters I wanted in here. Now one thing I'm still debating, here, let me turn off one other thing here while I'm at it. I'm debating whether or not to get any more strafing thrusters in this ship. Right now I've got the only strafing thrusters here. Now I believe I could scrunch in some more strafing thrusters back here if I want to. I don't think it'd be too challenging to do, especially now. Wow, look at all them fuel tanks. Whew. I'm just taking out a bunch of blocks here. So I've got a nice location here to put in another thruster. Now typically on CVs, I don't necessarily think they need that much strafing thrust, especially on your starter ones. This is not a starter. And how would that actually, is there any possible way of using an angled one here instead? Just curious what would happen if thrusters stuck out a little bit more like that. And one last thing I wanted to do too is compare the height all the way across the ship to see. Yeah, so that is something too. Keeping like this front thruster at the same height as the rear thruster, I think can look kind of good in the end result. So okay, all right, let's keep that one. Now on the other side though, I put two little thrusters up above it. This side I don't necessarily want to do that. So yeah, let's not say we didn't. All right. Now, what did get cut from here already was some forward-facing thrusts that were going right here. Don't need them anymore. Got plenty of space for reverse thrusters up front. It's going to be a challenge to make this leg look nice, though. So I'm going to start refining some angles here to get them a little bit more uniform to start with. And see how it comes out. You know what, I'm going to get rid of that for now too. I'm going to try to put something like that back, but probably with some different blocks. Things like that. Okay, I'll leave those black blocks. Alright, so now down here, let's, I think if I wanted to line this up, I need to go for some of these. Can I seal this area decent enough? I think I can. A lot of different angles in this area. It's like 22.5, 45, 22.5 opposite direction, 45 here, 45, well, yeah, it's a lot of different angles. Maybe I'm doing too many angles. Okay, so if we had an angled thruster like it is currently, how could we make this fit in here and look right? I'm gonna try a couple things here in a second. No, I wouldn't do it with that block. Oh, maybe. Maybe if it was angled like that. Do that, and that could go into actually that. Alright, so then, what I'm not liking is that blunt straight edge right here. This one's tricky. The only thing I know that actually works is this, but I normally don't go for this block, but sometimes though it can just be a neat answer. Or we try to make this look like a part, and then that looks like a different part, and we just run with it. So then you don't have to match all the angles to fit perfectly. That could probably work. Alright. So what else can we do here? Let's bevel this back in. Ooh, we're not going to be able to do much of that because we got to cover that up. Or do I just follow the same scheme and again put in one of these? Like that. That would be pretty funky. Oh, what did I just do? There we go. Alright, so up top, go up one more row with these. Just want to cut in like that. Okay, well, I'm thinking I'm going to cut that part, though, because it's just not doing it for me anymore here. I know all that minute that it might have been in place. Instead, I'm going to try to get a trim part here. Alright, and then I think all of these expand out to a full block row. Ooh. And the center. That wouldn't work out too well either. Well, let's try a little of this to get like a little ridge or something in there. A little indent. And pop in that and this. There, okay, so one kind of neat thing is that comes up to the same angle as this here. So if we're looking at profiles, it'd be alright, but yeah, that comes crashing in right there too, whereas the other side doesn't. Not sure if that's gonna probably not work out too well, is it? Yeah, I don't like that edge there. Getting tricky, trying to get some more detailed things in here, but trying to make it all fit together can take a bit of effort. Oh, and also, yeah, we got a totally exposed lift thruster right on the front of this thing right now, so that's not cool at all. Here, let's get rid of a bunch of this for now and build a new housing in this area. It's coming in on a weird angle there too, so so I think what's going to have to happen is there's going to be something sticking out here a little bit. Maybe a half block row. But maybe I don't want to use a regular wedge and instead use some more angled pieces like this and kind of overlap them over one another to give it that kind of choppy, gritty look I'm trying to do. do the same thing again on this row. And then have like a little feet thing or something come out there. And that would cover up the thruster, and that was the point I wanted to do with this part. And of course try to make it look nice. I said try. So what do we do on the sides over here though? Well, that's one way to do it, huh? Let's see what we can do on the sides over here now. If we try to match that same jaggedness, but maybe not have it stick out quite as far on the side. Oh, and you know what? We wouldn't be able to use this. Oh, that black doesn't work on the top row. Okay, we don't need it there. Definitely unique. Alright, so bottom feet part. Now on the front, what I ended up doing is just kind of, well, I had thrusters there, but I kind of built out this metally base thing going around here, which basically only holds landing gear. I'll try the same thing over here. Let me get rid of some of the stuff that's in here right now. I'm curious too. Oh yeah, these are combat steel. I just, okay. Have the texture different. Alright, so what would be kind of neat is to make it look like this bottom chunk here is detached from the part above. And the only way I can think of doing that is reversing the bevel here. To try to keep like a line separation between the two. Like something like this maybe, and maybe like that to try, you know, here, do one of those and we'll curve it back in over on the other side here. See how that would look. I think that would do the job. And then here we don't necessarily have to have it come back up into that. Oh, it looks so cool though, and I think I'm going to try this, if it's possible, to keep this bevel here not sticking out quite as far on the inside. Like if I could mimic that angle, like a 45 right there, I think that would look really cool. But is there a block for that? I think that one is. Well, almost, not really. Okay. Not quite that block. What's like it that wouldn't do the same thing? Oh, can't do that. No, that won't do it. there is a block that'll do it. So we know that fits. I could have swore there was an alternative block I could use here for that. Maybe that. Certainly kind of funky. Alright, well, so let's get another one of these in here. I don't know, is that going to be a little too trippy, a little too bulgy? I see that I'm a little like off here too on the feet, so I added one more to the one side here, but maybe I don't want to do that. So what I'd like to do is do what I did on the front legs for consistency purposes and get some kind of trim in here. Like going kind of across the bottom, but this trim would have to like spin in and meet up with this correctly. And the only way I know how to do that is with one of those and then just one of these. I would like to find an alternative for this though. Or, there's something else that can be done here too. What if we get in a little bit of like pipe action to simulate like some kind of piston or hydraulics or something connected to the feet. Also providing a little bit of separation if I can make it look right. Yeah, let's screw with this angle and switch it to be a little more curvy around the edge. And probably have to do the same up here then too. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like that. Nope, not there. Because that has to be out far enough to cover up where the piston is. Well, alright, so back here. Let's do that for now. And then that block obviously would go bye-bye. A lot of these blocks, I think, actually should be landing gear. Do I not have landing gear back here? Not seeing any. So, let's see, is that a full block? No. So if we had landing gear, we'd have to start it here, which of course isn't going to line up very nicely to the thrusters, but don't necessarily think that matters. Well, you know what? If we put landing gear here, and then at the same spot on the inside, and I should be, yeah, that should be straight across there. Oh yeah, okay, so the landing gear dropped down one block below that position. The ramp should line up right, so yeah, that's the right spot for it. Alright, this is getting trippy. It's tricky though. That's why, again, legs, there's something about doing like legs on a ship. I do still, to this day, find one of the hardest things to do. I don't know what it is with them. Trying to get them to feel right, I guess. Look right. Like, what am I going to do on this corner? I don't necessarily like that. Ugh. Well, let's move on to some other area and see if something syncs up essentially mentally. Sometimes you give it enough time, you just automatically like look at it. It's like, oh, what if I just did this? Okay, so yeah, it's not really cutting it there. I want this thing at an angle here. Can I not do that? I don't think so. Not unless it transitioned here first. Yeah. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Can we do the same thing on this row? Of course. But this row can come out further. And this row, I guess, could as well, but I don't think I want to. Well, that's just straight up funky. I don't mind it though. In a weird way, I think, you know, get it a little bit more tweaked out with the blocks, and it kind of looks maybe a little bulgier than it probably once did. A little wider on this side for sure. But I think the front legs also look a little bit bulgier than they once did. Um, but yeah, it looks meaty. It looks like I think that, you know, this would come down and it's kind of looking separated over here. The big thing now, though, is I got this angle here, and I used a particular block with a square edge on the front of it, on the front, and that does not line up there. So what I'm going to do is just swap out those blocks to one that does fit right there. Like that. And then I can put in the little triangle corners and make it all nice and neat and smooth again. Something like that. I do wonder too what would happen if I took these piston things up another row. Maybe put some grates or something over the top of those. Maybe, I don't know. It's kind of a little funky with the angling there still. I'll have to work on that. Anyway, I think this video is probably getting a little bit longer again, and I think you get the idea on where I'm at with doing the legs and why I was rebuilding them in the first place. One, I thought they're too blocky. Number two, I wanted to get more thrusters in the same area. So now we've got a secondary big strafing thruster. We've got the same forward moving thruster, and we doubled our lift thrust in the back, and that's going to give this now 8 large CV lift thrusters, which I think should be up to accommodate a fair amount of cargo weight and other things. So yeah, it's certainly getting there. I'll have to keep on working on these back legs, try to get them finished up, and then I can texture it. The same type of thing was done with the front legs too. I started with what was originally there, but then kind of went to town and heavily modified it. Taking a look at what the rear legs looked like again when I started is this over here. As you can see, like the new pattern is certainly a lot funkier than what's going on here. This is pretty straight edges. I did, even when I built this, try to mix it up some with what I knew and what blocks were there, but really it came down to what I knew to do, and it took me, like the front legs and the back legs on this thing just took me forever and a day to make. Same with the Manicore. The Manicore was terrible with that, trying to do the legs. But yeah, I think I can deal with this and maybe build like a row up here and get like a little railing kind of thing that I had up on the original ship. Something like what's going on over here. In fact, it looks like I'm missing blocks on this side. Why am I missing blocks on this side? Probably a symmetry issue I had by turning it off and forgetting to turn it back on again. Hold up. Gotta fix that. Gotta fix it. I'm pretty sure this is what I did on the other side. And yeah, see how the other side's all done, yeah. Alright. Well, anyway, you all have a great day. Sorry I didn't get a video out yesterday. It's been probably only having 2 videos this week, which is a little, I usually do 3, but hopefully next video I'll have some more to show here. And one of my priorities, though, is to get, wherever I put it, that new combat, yeah, this guy over here, this one finished up, or at least finished up enough ready to try it out in game to see how it does for a tier 4 POI busting SV. See how it works, see how much damage it can take, and how maneuverable it will be versus its weight. And it is built out of hardened steel and things like that. It's going to have some layers on the front of things to protect the ship, and same idea as the Skaar tank, really. where the front is essentially disposable. In this case, I managed to not put any thrusters in the front of the ship at all. So I mean, it's literally from the tip up here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 blocks from the very tip of the ship back before you run into your first thruster, and that's this big one. Which, how much hit points do these big thrusters have? Quite a lot, 3,200 hit points on that. And if this was destroyed, you're still not out of luck. You still got 8 other of these 1x3 tier 2 lift thrusters on this thing, so it can still keep on going unless you're completely weighed down, and then you probably shouldn't be engaging POIs if you are completely weighed down in the first place. But who knows? Maybe it'll work anyway. Anyway, you all have yourself a good day. I will see you later.